Again. Yeah, Lighting for Darkness was the setup that we had to use on set. We put a cone of black paper around the bulb, and with like a gel inside it, so that it kept the light on Chloe as on her body, because we needed it to look dark and gritty. And we blacked out the windows so that it would keep the light in the room, and it would keep it dark and atmospheric.
Yeah, I think it was important to get the lighting right, as it played a big role in creating the atmosphere. So also we had to keep the lighting quite consistent as well, so it would look like it was actually happening, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Good.
The force is strong with this one. No, I'll put that there, so that's easy, right? Yeah. The second thing that I think was a big part of something I learned from the product was shooting with props and organising them beforehand. So we knew to have a prop, and we knew to have it for the shoot, and we had to buy various things online. We had to get a hold of some other things like the prop arm you see on the floor.
The panda mask.
The panda mask, definitely, yeah. The panda mask was a definite one.
Mm-hmm.
We had to wait quite a bit before we could start shooting for that one to show up. And all the knives used by, I'm going to tell you who the panda is. It's me. But the knives used by me in the film are props we had to get organised. So it's all complicated, and the blood as well. The blood was everywhere.
Blood. Yeah, we used a lot of that, didn't we?
Oh, the blood. So yeah.
Also, I think iMovie was quite a new thing I used, and I really admired its simplicity. It was really easy to edit shots and such, change the lighting, add effects and transitions, which really also helped to create the atmosphere we wanted to. And we had to cut a lot of the gory scenes we did, like when Chandler was, we'll say, killing Chloe. Yes. So we had to cut a lot of those and have more of me detecting the area, so it was more of a thriller film than a horror, I guess.
To fit the genre.
Yeah.
So that was very something we all learned, really, was what would actually fit the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
And speaking of tone, the angles, which obviously play a lot have a lot to contribute towards the tone of the movie. There was a lot of different camera angles that we were all trying to practice, mainly sort of looking up at the antagonistic panda face character to portray a sort of a more threatening aesthetic, and down on Chloe, the victim, to be more vulnerable and all that sweet vulnerability. Notes. I've got notes. I'm turning the page. It was good. We did a lot of different angles, like the angles of with Molly on the keyboard, the laptop at the start, very switching between her face and what she was doing. And
the writing as well on the screen.
The writing on the screen, yeah, the angle of the text on the search bar. That was great. It was all good. It was all good fun.
Yeah.
You got anything else more?
No.
Alright, cool. Well, fair enough then.
Blank.
Oh, that's always the way. Alright then. Well, I'm just gonna stop this now then. Ready? Here it comes.
That's cool.
Right. From the progression from my prelim task to my to the group thriller task that we did, I wanted to personally progress the lighting from my prelim task, which was quite flat lit, very plain, like white lighting, very flat lighting, very not interesting to look at, to a much more atmospheric, dark, sort of gritty, well, anything that fits the tone, but for this particular tone, a darker, grittier piece. Even for a much more professional look, to make it look a bit more like effort was put in, because effort was put in. We, you know, so to get a much more interesting look. Also, I wanted the sound design to be a lot more detailed, with a lot more layers, various sound effects and music tracks, a lot more professional quality, and to make everything feel very deep and impactful, and so that every time the camera cuts, you hear the sort of, I don't know, whoosh tone. You see the villain, and the music is very sinister, and it builds throughout the film from being, you know, eerie to being almost very antagonistic and sinister, which is a word I've already used, but I'm using it again because it's a good word and we invented that word, so we'll use it. And yeah, there's a lot more things. I mean, there's like the production design, like in the prelim task we made, it was just me in my regular clothes, and my good friend Kenyon in his regular clothes, and Archie in his regular clothes, and Archie was supposed to be this villainous evil thing, and he just looked like Archie pulling a funny face, and it all really came down to the editing that made it creepy at all. So for the one that we made, I figured that it'd be better. I mean, we all really decided that upon the aesthetic of the thing, with the mask for the villain being a panda, eventually decided upon, and Chloe's dress and everything was even the costumes that the police officers wore, like Molly's jacket, the green coat, and my sort of tie and shirt combo. It was all done to look like a more detailed production design than the previous one I did, because the previous one was a prelim, and that's what it's for. It's to prepare people for the actual thing. So yeah, there's a lot more stuff, like the amount of props used, like the knives, the blood, and the gore effects that we didn't actually have in the prelim task. In our prelim task, we had like a ring binder, and that was our only prop, and only because we found it. We just found it on the desk, so we used it. We had a lot more. We also had a lot more time, I think, to plan the thriller opening than we did for the prelim task. So it looked quite nice in the end. I feel maybe not perfect, but it still looked good, and I like it. So there you go.